Are you looking for the very best products to protect your digital privacy? Well, Silent Pocket has everything you need with their patented product line of high-quality Faraday bags, backpacks, clutches, and wallets. Visit silentpocket.com today and receive 10% off your order by using discount code SHAREDSECURITY. Welcome to episode 186 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me this week is Scott Wright, who is back from his hummingbird vacation.
Whoa. Yes, my hummingbird vacation. What does that really mean? Well, yeah, I was at a cottage and we saw we had a really nice hummingbird feeder on the deck, and I was mesmerized by it. Every day I'd see many hummingbirds coming and going. I wasn't targeting them or anything, just watching them.
No, you weren't hunting them.
No.
You were just enjoying the view you had.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was very relaxing. But as a startup CEO, I go sometimes with sleepless nights. Even in the middle of a vacation, I start thinking about something in the middle of the night, and I go, I shouldn't. I listened to something. So I listened to Kevin and Tom in one of their solo podcasts. Listening to Kevin go on about flirty, what was it? Flirty Twitter, or I don't know what it was. There was that.
Yes, flirty women trying to social engineer people on LinkedIn.
So that was entertaining enough to put me to sleep again. No, sorry. I mean, it was it was good shows. I love listening to them, even when I'm not on them.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, Kevin could not attend this week as he has this company all hands, so he'll be back. Maybe all three of us will be back on the show next week.
Yeah.
But
good
but
stuff.
Yes, we've had some good episodes, and you're now welcome to the world of Zencastr, by the way.
Yeah, this is a cool new environment. We'll see what kind of feedback we get, but I think it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, the videos have been higher quality, which is good. Much better than Zoom. Mm-hmm. So we've been trying this out, and so far so good.
Yeah.
So up in the quality on the YouTube channel.
Yes, for sure. And quality content today, for sure. There's all kinds of good stories. Oh, yeah.
We do. And I did want to provide just an update from our last episode where we talked about Apple and the device scanning that has been very controversial in the privacy and security space recently. I've seen it all over the news. But Apple has come out and clarified that they will not be allowing this technology to be used by governments or used as a backdoor by a nation state to scan for anything. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's all good motherhood statements, right? But can they actually stick to it?
Yes, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. And I think the controversy will continue for sure.
Yeah. And I noticed in the article, it's interesting and kind of unfortunate that the acronym that they use for child sexual abuse material, CSAM, actually is the acronym we use for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So that's a bit of a downer.
Oh, guess who's going to be rebranding that, I guess. I don't know.
You got to be careful, though, the context you're using that acronym in. So
That's true. So we'll see where that goes. And then, of course, there was some news this week of, now ransomware gangs are using the Print Nightmare vulnerability to exploit Windows servers and, of course, spread ransomware. So we talked about Print Nightmare a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys mentioned it or not, but I heard from another podcast that I was listening to that there's a deep dive into what that vulnerability was all about, the Print Nightmare thing, and there was the term vulnerable by design thrown around. I don't know if you came across that before or not, but basically it's just the way those print spoolers have been designed for easy access.
Yeah, it's completely crazy. I mean, I was laughing about our conversation during that episode earlier today because, I had a printer problem I was trying to deal with. And it's like, really, here we go again. Like, everybody hates printers.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think if they make them that vulnerable, it should be easy to use.
Right? Exactly.
That's always what I say to people. If you want more convenience, you're going to give up some vulnerability. But it works both ways. It should.
Yep. So print nightmare continues, of course.
Yeah.
And then there was the news of the largest cryptocurrency hack in history took
Hmm.
place.
Yeah.
This one didn't get a whole lot of media attention, but I thought it was worthy for discussion just because this is the largest. I mean, over
Yeah.
$600 million in
Yeah, I
cryptocurrency.
hadn't heard about it at all until you raised the story. So it's interesting. So they one thing that I wanted to understand was they use the
Mhm.
term DeFi, DEFI,
Yeah.
which I think is decentralized financial system. Is that, I don't know. Is that what it means?
Decentralized finance.
Finance. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's the largest DeFi, maybe the largest anything, but yeah.
Correct.
So
Yeah. So, and I think that's an important concept to talk about is because you'll see this term DeFi. It's used quite a bit in the cryptocurrency landscape, which, like you said, it stands for decentralized finance. But this network that got hacked, they're called Poly Network. They are actually a cross-chain DeFi platform, and what cross-chain means is that it's a place that you can go to trade cryptocurrency, and it'll do a transfer for you of different cryptocurrencies and different blockchain networks.
like automatic
Um,
exchange, currency exchange kind of thing.
kind of think of it like
Yeah.
that, but it provides a central place to convert coins to completely different blockchain networks.
Wow.
So, I mean, the cryptocurrency technology that's out there and the blockchains are, you just can't keep up. There's so many that are being created.
Yeah.
So this type of network will do all of that conversion automatically for you. And ended up what happening was the hack was that there was some permissions improperly set on these smart contracts that are used to do these conversions, and a hacker found a way to bypass or leverage these. The permissions were set to allow anybody
Wow.
to access these smart contracts or certain functions in these smart
Hmm.
contracts, which allowed them to transfer, about 600 million worth of cryptocurrency into
Wow.
this person's wallet.
Profitable day
So
at work.
yeah, and it goes into the fact of, just like websites or any other, technology that people use, it has to be secure and it has to be audited
Yeah.
or assessed for security
Yeah.
because, not putting the right permissions on things like anything, as we've seen,
Yeah, it's
is
got to be
a pretty
driving
scary
people in
thing.
the financial industry crazy, right? Because they've got all kinds of, audits and assurance and cross checks and stuff like that in
Yeah.
traditional finances, but they have very little access, and it's also new, right? They haven't developed any kind of protections for these things.
That's right. That's right. So, these attacks are just going to keep continuing. So, it's kind of a warning to, everyone that's trading in cryptocurrency. It's the Wild West out there.
Yeah, yeah,
And so you really have to be careful with where your money and where you store it. And, of course, we'll link to, we did a whole episode on cryptocurrency,
yeah,
keeping your cryptocurrency safe,
yeah,
which
yeah.
we offer some advice about wallet storage and where to keep your coin and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's going to be, this one is going to be an interesting story when, more is unearthed about it. I hope there will be, but in the quotes and things that we saw in this article, there's some weird stuff, right? I mean, people
Totally.
giving tips to the attacker about, well, don't
Yeah.
try to launder your money here or it's going to get blacklisted or whatever, and then the
Yep.
guy gives them some reward coins for for the tip.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
what the heck's
Oh
going
yeah.
on here?
Yeah. It's a whole underground, a whole other world. Are you sick and tired of getting your credit card or debit card compromised? Well, it's happened to me in the past, and if it's happened to you, you know it's a time-consuming and stressful process to deal with. Look, credit or debit card breaches are happening all the time because there is very little protection out there to prevent your physical card number from falling into the wrong hands. Well, there is a great solution to this problem, and that's called a privacy card, which is a tool that masks your bank account information by generating virtual card numbers. So if your virtual card number gets compromised, your real card number won't. And on top of that, you can control all of those reoccurring online payments by deciding who can charge your card, how much, and how often. And the best part, you can pause or close out virtual card numbers at any time, which means you have total control over all of your online subscription and reoccurring payments. And right now, new privacy customers will get $5 to spend on your first purchase. So go to privacy.com/shared security right now to sign up and take back control of your online payments.
You want your organization to be secure and compliant and to have a healthy culture, but your employees' lack of awareness makes you vulnerable to data theft, fraud, and compliance penalties. It's frustrating that the boring, static training content that's being used today has failed to improve employees' ability to defend against cyber attacks. At ClickArmor, we know that without using gamification, it's extremely hard to get staff to understand how to avoid threats. Our gamified simulations and challenges have provided a 50% average improvement in thousands of employees' ability to spot phishing threats. Go to clickarmor.ca/shared security to get your free gamified phishing assessment for up to 500 employees. You'll see quickly how gamified simulations can help your team be more resilient and compliant and help avoid costly ransomware and fraud incidents. Let ClickArmor help you go from being an underappreciated, stressed out fall guy to being an innovative leader who's the catalyst for greater productivity in your organization.
And then the other story I wanted to talk about too was there was a good read about how hackers they're basically getting about $10,000 for stolen network access
on average,
for
each.
On average. And so when we mean stolen network access, we're talking about stolen credentials. So those could be like RDP, remote access credentials, VPN credentials into corporate networks.
Yeah.
It
wasn't clear to me. This isn't necessarily admin access, but access to any account on a network. Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of it is privileged, which obviously, they'll charge more for that for like admin access, but this could be just regular accounts in a corporation, which, as you know, could be used or leveraged to gain further access.
Yeah, lots of fraud or other kinds of things could be done. I also noticed it was interesting. They said, there's this phenomenon that's coming out of it where they're discovering access to operational technology networks and SCADA networks and ICS networks, which are all kind of very specialized for control purposes, and so not easily monetized unless you sell it to a ransomware guy who can lock it up. And so there's a tool for everything, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And this is, again, the basis for how a lot of ransomware spreads is through this stolen access or stolen credentials. I know there was just a few big ransomware breaches this year where they were through things like this.
Mm-hmm.
They started from somebody's credentials got compromised.
Yeah.
Not always phishing, but the majority is being, phishing is kind of the gateway in. But
yeah, it's also interesting. And, you always think of operational technology networks being compromised because somebody accessed them from the administrative network or something. But it almost sounds like it might be happening the other way, where it's easy enough to break into somebody's unprotected control system and then get into the business systems from that side. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, as we always do, we'll keep an eye on these stories as they develop. But ransomware is something that is just not going away anytime soon.
No, for sure. So yeah, that's some good stuff.
Yeah. So the final story, and I think maybe the longer discussion we'll have is about this article on ZDNet was called "Why is Your Identity Trapped Inside a Social Network?"
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have this linked in our show notes, but I definitely recommend everyone give this a read because it does make you think about, your how the internet. Let's just say the internet was developed, right?
Yeah.
And how it was designed, there was no protocol for people and identity.
Imagine
on the internet. It was never designed for that, right? If you look back at the history of what it was called, ARPANET, it was actually designed by the U.S. government for communication during a war or
Yep.
nuclear fallout.
Well,
And
it was actually initially, wasn't it just for
Mhm.
collaboration between
Yeah,
universities, right, on research? It didn't necessarily even
sure.
have to be military, but I know the military
Hmm.
wanted to get some benefit out of it. But I think it was
Right.
really very academic, and everybody was
Yep.
altruistic and trustworthy at the time, but they didn't even envision this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening was social media companies like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all the companies that are out there have taken advantage of this fact that the internet wasn't designed for people and their identities.
Yeah,
And so what we've essentially done is we've now have to rely on these third party services to hold our identities, and they don't talk to each other.
right.
There's no centralized protocol that you can say, I want to move my identity from Twitter to Facebook to LinkedIn,
Yeah,
um, and use the same privacy protections across all of these different
yeah. That's
networks,
not the
because
same though
there
as
is no one.
OAuth, right? Where it's
No,
just relying on the fact that you've authenticated yourself to LinkedIn, and therefore
correct.
some other app will trust you. It's not quite the same as saying,
No,
here is my identity and everything that I
yeah,
could use it for. Right?
yeah. But even in the case of OAuth, there are different protocols and standards around authentication across the web that are, some of them are vastly different from one another. So there isn't even one
Yeah,
centralized authentication protocol
yeah,
on the internet. There's
yeah,
many.
yeah. But I mean, but the article is kind of also insinuating that is it Mark Zuckerberg has a vision for how we can solve this problem, and of course, it all takes place within
Well,
Facebook.
yeah, yeah, that's right. He's talking about this, the next evolution of the internet, which is called the metaverse,
Yeah,
which essentially becomes a true virtual world where you interact with other people outside of our own reality
yeah,
into this virtual metaverse reality, which of course Facebook will control.
yeah. It really doesn't change anything if you think about it. It's
No.
still just people within that one ecosystem that would ultimately maybe be able to understand or trust each other a little better. But the whole idea to me is very visionary. It makes a good novel, but
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think very practical at all. It's in my view, it makes me think that when you think about it, a secure internet, as we would love to have it, if we could redesign it all over again, it couldn't have evolved by itself, and it couldn't have been designed because of a whole bunch of different reasons, right? Adoption. If it was designed to be secure or private in the first place, nobody would use it because it would be too
Right.
hard. And on the other side, you've got privacy issues, you've got efficiency, you've got competition. Like, you're not going to get everybody in the world on one platform. The people in Facebook trust others in Facebook, for example, but what about people on Twitter? You've got the same problem. You haven't really
Yeah.
solved the problem unless everybody is in that one metaverse. Anyway, that's my
That's right.
philosophical thinking on it.
Yeah, and there have been groups that have tried to create, kind of that standard protocol for identity. But again, you have one group doing one thing, another group doing another, and then you end up now with, multiple groups, and then who do you
Yeah,
choose? Who do these
it just
social
gets
networks
fractured
work
and
with?
it never will work. Yeah.
It really does. So, and then the competition between the social networks themselves for, well, your data,
Hmm.
adds to
Yeah,
this.
the economic side
So
of it is, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see one uniform kind of identity protocol on the internet, because I think companies like Facebook, probably have too much power.
Yeah, I could see a
Honestly.
point where some people, some subset of the population becomes completely installed in that
Hmm.
metaverse, and interacts with everybody. And to them, the whole universe is only the people that they can access, right? They don't care about anybody else. But that's really not going to happen. It's just sort of a long-term theoretical thing.
Yeah. The concept of a virtual metaverse kind of freaks me out a bit, because then I go back to an episode of Black Mirror where, we're living in this, we plug in
like the Matrix
and create these worlds, that we interact with, and we don't actually interact with anyone anymore outside of this virtual world. So it's literally like plugging in to your computer, you go to sleep, you interact and conduct your daily life, your work, your job, all these things in this virtual world. And you're now no longer interacting with the human real society around
Meat space.
you. I just, it's pretty disturbing to think about that.
So
and the consequences of that.
But the good news is it's unlikely to happen. So,
well, maybe not in our lifetime, Scott, but 30, 40 years from now, we'll see where society takes us.
Yeah, exactly. No, very good topics.
Yeah. And there are, of course, privacy, issues, I think, too, just about this metaverse and about identity on the internet, because, somebody, I guess the author even said, when was the last time, Facebook prompted you to review your privacy settings?
Yeah, I think they put it as, when was the last time Facebook asked you which protocol you would like to use to interface with other users, right? So it's not only
the
are
answer
they not,
is no, they never have. And I think the last time I got a prompt from Facebook about when I was using Facebook, I'm not on Facebook anymore, but when I was on Facebook, I think it was after Cambridge Analytica that, if you remember, they had this big kind of, public, campaign around, we're going to tell people about our privacy settings and make sure. Everyone knows that they have full control over their data.
Just like after the Canadian Privacy Commissioner slapped them down and they came up with all these simple privacy options.
That's right.
That lasted
we'll see.
month or two.
So anyway,
good stuff.
So it sounds like that's all we have for today. But Scott, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And look forward to getting together again with you and Kevin next time. And maybe Kevin will be listening to this in his sleep sometime, but we'll see.
We'll see. Well, he does hack dreams, so
that's true. Yes, he's been known to do that.
That's right.
Which episode?
All right, everyone. Yeah, exactly.
All right, thanks, folks.
Yep, thanks all, and we'll talk to you all next time. That's all for this week's show. Be sure to follow the Shared Security Show on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news and show updates. If you like this episode, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.